My name is Austin, and welcome to the first episode of the First Person Podcast. The goal of this podcast is to allow you to be a fly on the wall in a conversation, allowing you to experience it from a first-person perspective. On this week's episode, we have Logan Welchman, Brandon Render, CJ Simpson, and Kuda Kwashe Musumungre. Let's fade in and see what they're talking about.
The used panty thread is still alive and well.
Why would they take that down?
It's not a regulated,
Yeah,
it's not.
Used panties are not a regulated substance.
Starting off with the used panty industry. Great job, guys.
I've yet to see legislation about the regulation of used panties.
I saw that.
At least in this country.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me the dark web is illegal.
The dark web is illegal.
Yeah, that's mostly what happens.
Arrest me now, officer.
Oh, there were drug deals that were happening on subreddit, so that's an obvious one to take down.
Yeah,
like there was a subreddit for ecstasy.
That
Wow,
sounds about
that's
right
interesting.
for
Yeah.
Reddit, yeah.
I'm 20% sure that there's LSD inside of this couch.
This is Logan. This is also the moment we all became very aware of Logan's drug problem.
Alright.
Oh,
Not
cool.
LSD. Is acid LSD?
No.
The situation then eased with Logan revealing how little he actually knew about drugs.
The previous owners of this
No,
house,
no, acid is LDS.
or the leasers of this house,
Mm-hmm.
they my parents said, hey, you can't smoke in this house because we don't want it stinking up the place. So they were like, fine, we'll just do acid instead. And we found this, like, they took a knife and cut open the wire bedding that's underneath the cushions, and there's a hole there. And this couch is getting demolished and thrown in the trash soon because it's a junk couch.
Right.
But I haven't put my hand in that hole yet.
Leave it to Logan to find a hole and not instinctively put his hand in it.
Money doesn't get washed.
Okay then.
No.
You know, as
Yeah.
like any single has most likely been in a stripper's thong at least once.
It's like, if you think that's bad, it's definitely, at least, every bill has at least been used to snort cocaine. You know?
Yeah.
This is Kuda Kwashe, more formally known as Kuda. Kuda happens to be African American, which might be why we were more accepting of his knowledge of drugs. I said might.
Watch people die.
I doubt-
Reddit's
Or a
going.
person
If
like,
you're snorting cocaine with $1 bill, though, you probably shouldn't be buying cocaine. Like, I
No.
would think like 10 and up would be what you would use for that.
but imagine like some dude doesn't wash his goddamn hands, takes a fat dump, grabbing ones, you know, every bill, you know,
I get it, yeah.
a lot of shit on him.
Change is stupid, though. I want it to go away.
I only keep quarters and dimes.
Mhm.
I don't even keep nickels and pennies.
I keep all my change, right? But here's what I do. Whenever I spend cash and I get change back, I'll put it in my pocket, and at the end of the day, I'll throw it in a bowl,
Right.
and I don't touch it. It gets taken out of my currency, and it's gone. And it's like, almost anytime you buy something, you get some change back.
Yep.
And then I've got this huge bowl of change that I'll take down to Coinstar, and then I'll get $50 back, and that's
Ooh, nice.
that's like spending money. Because
That's
it's
the
just,
only problem is Coinstar takes so much of it.
yeah, I hate it. I hate
It'll
it so
fuck you
much.
over.
When I used to live in Salt Lake City, the only Coinstar was on Capitol Hill, and I lived in downtown. They're close together as far as distance goes, but Capitol Hill is actually a hill, and it is a very steep hill.
Yeah.
And I walked from Main Street all the way up to the Capitol to the Kroger's. And then when I got up there, it's like, yeah, we're gonna like take $5 out of your change. It's
Oh.
like, I just carried this shit in a backpack up the hill. It was so.
That's like saying, we're going to give you this money, but we're going to flick your balls a little bit. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, that's exactly what they did. I was honestly worried I was gonna fall walking down that hill.
Oof.
Like, if I even tripped like once, I was gone.
Dude, fuck
Yeah.
that. You ever watch Vsauce videos?
I stopped watching Vsauce maybe a year ago.
Did you ever see the one, though, where he's talking about, like,
It wasn't until post when I realized that a smoke detector in our studio needed its batteries switched. Stay tuned for an updated beep tally at the end of the podcast.
if the Earth was actually flat?
I hadn't seen that one yet.
So, like, he's talking about if the Earth was actually flat, it was just like a disc, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you were running, gravity would get really weird towards the edges because in the center everything would be normal because gravity's still going like this.
Mhm.
But you could build buildings just at increasingly shallow or steep angles, however you want to call it, such that gravity is always feels this way because that's what gravity would feel like. And so he's got this animation of this dude running, and he's like going up and up and up and up and up, and he's like getting at a steeper angle. And that's all that made me think of, because like if you fall, you're fucked. It's game over. Imagine you run to the edge of the planet and then you fall and then you roll all the way back to the center.
You wouldn't fall because there's the Great Ice Wall.
Oh, you're right.
The ice wall's at an angle too, though.
No, the ice wall's 100 feet tall.
Why is it only 100 feet?
I don't know. Don't ask me.
What is sea level? Like,
No. The ice wall goes 100 feet above sea level.
There's a lot of shit higher.
Because
than
that's what keeps the sea in. Otherwise, the sea would just fall out.
Well, is global warming real? Because then, if that's real, wouldn't the ice?
the ice walls are melting. You'd think flat earthers would be extremely concerned
Yeah.
about the polar ice cap.
Yeah.
Well, they've been sending people, but the government's stopping them.
This is Brandon. As a proud member of the Flat Earth Society, he was very willing to tell us more about his religion.
Well, what are these people gonna do about refreezing the Great Ice Wall?
Well, you see, the thing is, they don't know what's past the ice wall.
Is it nothing?
Space?
Yeah.
We don't know. The government won't let us know.
Didn't we leave and go? Didn't a bunch of motherfuckers leave and go to the moon? Didn't they leave the ice wall? Isn't that how that worked?
It's Game of Thrones on the other side of the ice wall.
Ooh, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Ice zombies on the other side of the wall.
Actually, which would you rather be? Game of Thrones world or the one we currently live in?
Currently.
Game of Thrones.
No, because here's the thing, right? If you're in Game of Thrones and you're just a normal citizen, you're living in squalor. It's medieval times.
Yeah.
So life isn't good. But then it's like, if you start getting money and you start being part of like the bourgeoisie, right? And you're one of them, chances are you're going to die because there's political upheaval around every corner.
Yeah.
Assassinations,
No.
poisonings, all kinds of
Here's
stuff.
the thing. You just need a sword.
I would want, if I could...
Is that it? You
Yeah.
don't need any skills to wield that weapon?
Kill someone, take their money.
But don't isn't somebody else who
Someone's
knew that
going to
person?
kill you.
Yeah, isn't that
Revenge
how that
killings.
one works?
I don't know if it's illegal, but people do it there.
Yeah, it seems like as common as walking.
What's like the deserty capital city?
I have no idea.
Sandgem Town. It's definitely called Sandgem Town.
I don't watch Game of Thrones. All I know of it is that every character dies.
Yeah,
And
that's the
there's
thing.
something about ice. There are these ice motherfuckers.
There's ice motherfuckers on the other side of an ice wall, and if you are
Game of Thrones is just ancient Earth.
if you commit a
Alright.
crime in that world, your choices are prison or you become one of the watchers for the wall.
So basically, it sounds like the script from Game of Thrones was loosely written around the Mexican-U.S. Border Patrol.
Like if that's your sentence, is you get stuck on this wall and you become like basically drafted into the army. So
Oh, I'm sorry, did I say loosely? I meant to say it's a National Geographic documentary narrated by George R.R. Martin.
Huh.
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, that's not...
well, I mean,
awful.
we don't have an ice zombie problem, so
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Not yet.
one day.
That's why we gotta strengthen our borders with Canada. Fuck Mexico. We need to be strengthening our borders against
No,
Canada.
you see,
Ice zombies.
Canada's doing it
Ice
for
zombies.
us. They're building their own wall for us.
For us.
They're paying for it.
We
Everyone
almost
else is paying for
we
it.
almost drove to Quebec.
So the next 5 minutes was a hateful rant about Logan's general distaste for the Canadian people of Quebec, so I'll save everyone some time and just skip to the very end of that.
That's pretty weird, man.
It gave me. It was like I couldn't imagine living in that town. It
No.
felt like somewhere you went to, did stuff, and left.
Oh, sorry, some of the hate seemed to spill over on the end there.
Yeah, I could never imagine living in a town that's like a tourist trap.
Mm-hmm.
Like, over spring break, me and my family we went to Mexico, right?
Mhm.
And so you got that classic, like, everyone's trying to sell you shit, everything like that. There was this one dude, though, it was really fucking funny. We're checking out these ruins by the resort we're staying at, and we walk by, and there are all these vendors out there. And he's like, all right, now it's my turn. Let me show you all my junk. And we're like, all right, that's pretty charming. But the thing that's really kind of fucking weird about it is, like, it's just weird to think about, like, all right, what happens when the day's over? After all
Where
the
do you
tourists,
go
like,
home
yeah,
to?
Like, where, like, after the spring break season, like, what the fuck's going on with your life, you know? And it just, you kind of got this vibe of, like, the tourist spots
They
are
hibernate.
yeah, they're kind of like, they'd honestly be a shitty place to live because there's no money that comes in for anything unless it's, you know, white people on spring break.
Yeah.
You know?
There was
Pretty depressing.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was the Chris Rock special on Netflix. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't yet.
It's very edgy. I've never seen Chris Rock's humor before.
He's always edgy.
This is CJ. He's just now getting an introduction because he's been quietly playing Pokemon for the past 10 years.
Yeah, he's been edgy for a long time, but then
So-
he went with like animated movies, and then all of a sudden he got less edgy.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck happened?
It's
He
for the
started
kids,
talking.
man.
Yeah,
He
you're
started
right. For the
talking, and the
kids.
first thing that came into my head was that freaking Polka Dot Afro song.
Yeah.
But he makes a joke, and he's talking about he went on a trip to Jamaica, and it's like he makes an observation. Is like I fly to Jamaica, right? So there's the drive from the airport to the resort, and it's like a completely different place where the people normally live. It's like shacks and shanties and people running in the street and playing in puddles.
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
it's not a third world country, but it's like I would equate it to probably like what Brazil is, where it's like it has some technology and it has a bit of like modern society in it, but
Where
then
like the wealth gap is just so low.
Yeah.
That the people at the bottom of it are at the bottom.
and then it's just like, oh, Holy Palace on the beach, 2
Yeah.
miles away.
Like when I was there, it was like, yeah, it was fun and all, and it was great to like not be in the Midwest for a while. But what was really, there are these things like I got to go with, it was me, my mom, her sister, and my friend from back home. We went, and while we're there, my friend is very particular. He's traveled a lot,
Mhm.
but he's got this thing he really hates. He calls it the human zoo.
Us locals refer to that as Friday night drink specials at Applebee's, but whatever.
So like when you go on a vacation, when you're at those like touristy places, what they would do a lot, the staff would either dress up or there'd just be people around with cameras being like, "Can I take your picture? Let me take your picture."
I had the same thing happen.
And there'd also be times where like a bunch of the staff members dressed up as like in clothes that were like Day of the Dead kind of thing.
Yeah, that's actually, I have a picture in my living room where it's like the moment I got off the boat, there were people with cameras and there were people dressed up in like not even traditional like Mexican clothing. It was like Mayan. Like there was a
Yeah.
guy with his shirt off in one of those like neck
Yes.
Delios.
Yep.
and it's like,
I like to think they just dress up that way to freak people out.
now they're doing it for money.
Yeah, they are. And like that was what exactly he was like, I hate that shit, like the human zoo.
If Logan continues to take hits off his vape directly into the microphone, I will also be adding a Logan's Lonely Addictions tally.
And that's exactly what it is. It's like I remember specifically just being there, and when I'm in the airport or like when we were driving to and from the resort, I always had the thought in my head of like, man, people shouldn't like I understood why people get mad about cultural appropriation.
Mhm.
You know, because it's like it's really kind of fucked up to dabble in somebody else's culture that they live in.
Mhm.
You know, it just like feels wrong.
Not, I wouldn't say dabble as much as just kind of like, it's the whole zoo mentality where it's like you're looking at it, it's like, oh, like
Yeah.
that kind of like, it's not treating it with respect, awe. It's more like, look at this differentness, kind of like.
Yeah, and like and I think what really makes it, to me, what makes it really dabbly,
That's it. We're starting at 4.
or just like, it's the fact that you don't have to live there. You don't have to. You just get to come.
You're in
by.
and out.
Yeah, and it adds to that zoo element where it's
Mhm.
kind of like you think you put yourself at a higher place. You start condescending because when
Mhm.
you're in a zoo, you're like, oh, look at these dumb animals. Look at what they're doing. And if you start treating people like that, then things start getting real bad real fast.
Mhm.
So it's like really weird seeing people interact, and like there's a part of me that's like, yeah, I can speak a little Spanish enough to get by, but it's like part of me is like, do I speak Spanish or do I speak English? Because it's like what is less taxing for these people? And it's
Mhm.
like when it comes right down to it, it's like neither. Because
Yeah.
either way, they're either spending their whole day speaking a language they're not entirely comfortable with or like isn't their first language, or they have these motherfuckers coming over and being like, yeah, I can totally speak your language,
Yeah.
and then they're fucking shit up left and right, you know?
Can't think of a better pickup line than French.
Yeah, French, Spanish,
Just walk up to a woman
Latin,
and go, French.
something.
S'il vous plaît, madame.
You know, I guess if you want to use the loosest definition of polite possible.
English is Germanic, but also we got words from
Yeah.
France
Je m'appelle.
that they got from the Romans.
We're like,
Well, I mean, a lot of it just boils down Roman Greek.
Yep. That is 100% true. It's right now English is like, well, yeah, no, English originally came from Old High German
Yeah.
in South Germany.
And like there's the thing that I always found interesting when I learned this was the reasons why there are different words for the animal and the cut of meat that you get from it came from Old English delineations between the classes. Like the lower class would say cow, pig. That's where those words are derived from. And they would call both the animal and the cut of meat that, right? So that's what it was. And then the high class would call them beef, pork, poultry.
Huh.
That's where all those words derive from. And then we split it because it kind of makes sense when you think about it that the lower class words are what we use for the animals.
Yeah.
And then the high class ones, the people who never even saw those animals alive, are what we use for the cuts of meat that we get from them.
I almost believed Kuda until he could not explain where my slice of Taco Bell originated from.
Like, back then, curse words weren't necessarily just like the fuck, shit, all that. Shit was one of them, but it was due to things that were dirty and unclean. So, things like, that's the reason we have shit and defecate. So shit, the more lower class actual dealing with literal feces, would be like the curse word, where defecate is the nice euphemism, so we don't have to actually talk about it. And nowadays, curse words are more, specifically now, they're coming more towards talking about mental health, like why we don't say the R word, or we don't say schizo, or things like that. It's more about people's psychology nowadays, which is really interesting.
And defending people.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's still like the common like
Snowflakes.
derogatories and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, any use doesn't mean that it's inherently derogatory, which is stupid when you can't use that just because, like...
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, the word retard was originally a
Like a
scientific
slow.
one. It meant it was mental retardation.
Yeah.
But
It was at this point that an aquarium the size of our studio swallowed all of our audio equipment. The ending result sounded like this.
I do look at CIA documents on Google.
Alright.
Okay, hold on. Real stuff, alright?
My apologies go out for the audio quality and the conversation about to happen.
Brandon was looking at this conspiracy theory for the Flight 370, and all of a sudden,
linked it to me.
Alexa turned on when he was reading the CIA documents.
No, not just Alexa, but my lights
Yeah, the
connected
lights.
to Alexa turned on by themselves.
Yep.
Well, apparently there's
Aliens.
an asteroid heading our way.
Again?
Yeah, well,
That
this one,
happens.
but the thing is, if Jupiter's atmosphere doesn't destroy this one, we're boned. Like, it's game over. Like, actually.
Really?
Like, there's a very small chance that we make it if that one, if Jupiter doesn't blow this one up, or if it doesn't break up in its atmosphere.
How long will it take to get from Jupiter to here before that, or at least from here, from
2
there
seconds.
to Jupiter?
It's still a good long while, but, like...
Can I be
it's-
married and have kids? Like,
No.
And you probably weren't going to anyway.
Unless if you
Well,
adopt.
unless you, like, started right now.
I mean, even then...
Like...
I mean, I'm
But then
Mormon,
your kids
so.
are gonna die, and do you really want to birth your kids knowing they're gonna die?
They're going to
children?
die
They're all
either
gonna
way,
die.
Logan.
Selfishness-
Everyone dies
no,
someday.
They wouldn't die because they wouldn't be alive.
Everyone dies someday.
Everybody dies someday.
But you're gonna birth your kids into an apocalyptic
I
scenario.
mean,
I would never
all
do
I'm
that.
saying, Logan, is you're saying you're not gonna have kids because they're gonna die. I mean,
As kids.
that means I shouldn't have
I'm
kids.
sorry.
Period.
Did that
Not a
stop?
70-year-old
Did that
man
stop
that lives a
people in the
fulfilled life.
1800s? Did that stop people before modern medicine, Logan? Oh, I'm gonna have a kid
No,
in my
but that's why
house
they
in
had
the wintertime.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
died of the croup again. Like,
Oh man, the Black
darn
Plague
it,
is
it's a fifth
raping
one.
Europe. Let me not have a kid.
exactly. I'm
Well,
sorry.
The Black Plague is not a meteor. A meteor is definite.
It's
extinction.
equally
Because the
surprising.
dinosaurs, they survived one.
And they had kids.
They brought kids into that world.
Boom. You telling me that the dinosaur meteorologist didn't tell him about it, Logan?
Look, all I know is that if you ever have a kid and he makes it to the age where he can speak and understand language before he dies, I'm going to look him in the face and I'm going to explain how his dad made sure that he was alive for the end of the world.
Not if I shoot you in the head first.
Well, I mean, Brandon makes a compelling argument.
Don't listen to this man.
If a meteor is guaranteed to kill us all, I probably would. I mean,
No.
zombie apocalypse scenario. What's your game plan?
Okay, go to
Big
Syngenta.
R.
Go to Big R.
Big
Steal
R.
all the guns. Go
Big
to
R.
Syngenta.
For those unaccustomed to Midwestern culture, Big R is essentially Walmart, but with the addition of tractors, wheat, and AR-15s.
Because
And then
Big
just
R
hide
has
out there.
Yeah, Big R has food,
I asked
guns,
Kuda.
all that stuff, and then
Well, my
you
answer's
got
really short. I'm
Syngenta.
gonna die. Yeah, I'm not.
I'm not.
Okay, hold on.
fit for
Are
that
we?
scenario.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait. We have to determine what type of zombies they are. Are they Walking Dead zombies? Are they I Am Legend zombies? Are they World War Z zombies? Are they Left 4 Dead 2 zombies?
There's
Like,
zombies that can kill you. and
but I mean,
kill
like,
you.
how fast? How scary?
That's
Do
just
they
a matter of
run?
logistics.
All zombies are scary.
Well, okay, Logan. Honestly, if I yes, The Walking Dead at the beginning was scary, but like
I mean,
now that if I
Minecraft
can walk
zombies?
away and they won't eat me, fine. Like they're not that scary.
Well, let me pose this. Okay, so zombie apocalypse happens and your mother turns into a zombie. Does it really matter if she can sprint or walk slowly?
That's gonna suck. I mean, like, yeah. Look at Carl. Look at Carl. He had to shoot his mom.
You
Okay,
know?
so there's this subreddit
Wow,
called
thanks for
Writing
the
Prompts,
spoiler.
and somebody
Brady,
posted a
it's been
really
out
good
for
one.
like 10 years.
I think
I
it
was
started
gonna
out
watch
as a
it
shower
eventually.
plot, but it was like it was zombie apocalypse starts. Everybody knows exactly how to handle it, so they're just like they're shooting zombies left and right. And then this one guy comes along and he's just like, guys, I found a cure for zombieism. And then everybody's just like, oh shit. I like killed my family.
Fuck.
So now a bunch of people are being tried for murder because now it's just a disease that happens to you.
Oh,
you
come
know?
on.
It's like, if you can cure somebody, is it still within the realm of
Would
Not if I
can it
kill
be
the
a crime
government
of
and burn the
passion?
Constitution.
Like, is that legal? Can that be counted as a crime of passion?
what?
While many passions took place in the zombie apocalypse, I do not think they line up with the ones that CJ is thinking about.
Shooting
Actually,
your
Logan-
death.
Well, I mean,
a
lot of
Okay, it's the
people-
self-defense.
Wait,
Self-defense.
Yeah,
wait!
yeah,
I
I
actually have a
understand.
very legal explanation for this.
Okay.
Technically,
he's
those
looking to
actions you performed, you performed them under duress.
Or maybe it was just full-on zombie sex, but who knows?
Was there an X-Files episode about this?
No. But technically, you performed them under duress. Your life was in danger.
What about a
therefore,
Shaun
it
of the
was
Dead
self-defense.
scenario, right? Where you've got him chained in your shed because he's your best friend, right?
Wait. What about Black Ops zombies? Not Nazi zombies.
The Black Ops zombies are Nazi zombies, though.
And that is 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out of Logan's nationalistic pride slipping into the conversation.
Not the Black Ops 2 zombies. Don't know about anything else. Pretty sure Black Ops 3 came out when I was on my mission.
No, Black Ops. 2
Black Ops
zombies
4
were
is coming
Nazi.
out soon.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is it going to
Gonna
be
be
like
next
in
fall,
the like the? Oh
So
my
it's gonna be on
gosh.
the Switch.
Sorry, Black Ops 4 isn't going to come around because apparently Earth got blown up by a friggin' meteor. So have fun shooting
I mean,
guns in space.
Either blown up
They
by a
already did
meteor
that.
or
What?
invaded by
Yeah,
some
that happened.
Gosh,
non-human
On the moon
entity.
with zombies.
you're kidding me.
Yeah.
That kind of sounds pretty cool though.
And then
Like,
everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they went back.
but okay, if it wasn't like part of, I don't know.
No,
I honestly think if
bad.
that was like a standalone like mini game or whatever on its own,
Surprise, it is.
like shoot like moon
No, that's the
zombies.
thing.
Nope, it is. It most definitely is.
Black Ops shouldn't be in charge of zombies anymore. It should just be Call of Duty Zombies.
Yeah.
It should be its own franchise, and they should stop just tacking it on as DLC to every other game
I
because
mean, I get.
It's what most
I
people
get
buy the
Call of
game
Duty
for,
for
yeah.
zombies.
And
True.
sometimes multiplayer. It kind of depends on what you're into.
no, people have been complaining about the multiplayer for years. World War One, the new Call of Duty game, everyone hated it.
Really?
Like, I've been hearing terrible things about it.
Okay, I just got back. Hold on. Explain to
it.
me what has been happening.
Okay, I want to complain about numbers for a second. All right.
Since his last outbreak not too long ago, we managed to convince Logan to therapeutically transfer his nationalistic hate towards that of numerology. Healing is a slow process, and it has to start somewhere.
Battlefield. Battlefield. Right.
There.
Just as it seemed the healing process was starting to work, Logan suddenly took up the hobby of swallowing microphones.
Name some Battlefield games.
Battlefield 4, Battlefield 2.
Okay, so you got
Hardline,
Battlefield Bad
Battlefield
Company,
3.
Battlefield 1, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 3.
Battlefield Hardline.
Then you get to Battlefield 4.
Battlefield 3.
Then you get to Battlefield Hardline. Then you get to Battlefield 1. They named it Battlefield 1. It's the 6th or 7th game in the
Okay,
series,
hold on.
but they named it 1, alright? They named it 1 because World War 1, right? And then they came out with a Battlefield World War 2, and what did they name that one? Battlefield 2? Battlefield World War II? No, they named it Battlefield 5.
They did?
Yeah,
What? No way, that's real?
yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, hold on.
No, that's
I-
stupid. Why would you name it Battlefield 5?
I would like to bring up a point. Okay, Xbox 360, Xbox One, the end.
What about them?
Literally exactly what you said.
Okay. How about the Xbox
No.
One S?
Wait,
No,
is that
no
how is
way.
that
I don't know.
Wait,
I don't.
wait.
I want to.
That's not
Hey, no.
point.
Talk
It's
to
just
me.
complaining.
That's a
No, no,
no.
it would be them going Xbox
They come
360,
over here,
Xbox
they're
One,
getting
Xbox
rambunctious.
361.
Oh shit! This one just whipped us off.
Swallowed that one just a little too far.
Just break it
I'm
open.
gonna have to. That's what it's coming to.
All right.
Throw
I
it
think
at the
The
wall.
other option is to just not vape.
Oh! Get wrecked!
After a long day of fighting the war on numerology, Logan found comfort in filling his lungs with the sweet, sweet nectar of chemically altered sugar water.
We get it, Logan. You vape.
We get it. You're referencing a meme from 2014. CJ,
Hey,
can you
man,
stop
I
being a
didn't even know about
senile
that
old
until at
man
least
for like?
2016, okay.
I've
Also,
known people
someone
that have
should-
been vaping since they were 12. That's crazy.
That also doesn't help your case.
Like
And
that's how
illegal.
long it's been around for.
Definitely illegal.
I remember e-cigs being like, "Oh shit, this is the new way." And
That was
now-
like-
It's
what,
they're
like a
actually
year?
starting to catch on now. Like
E-cigs?
yeah, e-cigs like the really small ones. The one that's really popular right now is called the Juul,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's like you've seen them, right? They're like the black little rectangles. Those ones, like, I've never been a fan of them because it was like this big upselling thing. It was a lot of big tobacco companies coming in and just kind of like really shitting on the market because it was like the ones that first came out were blues and they looked like cigarettes.
right.
And it was like it was really expensive to get the little battery case, and then the juices were super expensive. But the Juul is actually like really like cost effective the way they made it, and the amount of it's like a carton of cigarettes, like equivalents for people, because this is for people who are switching,
Right.
and it's like an entire carton of cigarettes in a capsule this big. And you can make it last for a long time. Like the potency of the nicotine that they put into it and the way they designed it, it works really well. And I still don't like the company that made it. They're jerks. They're like lobbying in the government right now to like put like heavy regulations on e-cigs because their goal is still, you know, tobacco,
Yeah.
way
control
more
the market,
affordable
yeah.
market to control, but it's decent.
This country was founded on tobacco. It's not going away.
And
Yeah.
weed. Thanks, Thomas Jefferson.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Prohibition.
Thanks, mysterious clicking that I think is Logan's fault.
Oh man, what a fuck mess.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I don't know if this is for the PC or for console. I heard or saw that you can download SpongeBob and Patrick on there and Squidward, like the SpongeBob characters, and it's pretty funny.
It's probably PC, it's probably a mod.
But when I was gone,
That's how that stuff works.
I
CJ.
heard that you could
Okay?
download some mods on Xbox. I don't know if that was just
It's
for
only on certain
Minecraft.
games.
Dang it.
I want to ask you. So
Yes.
you were on your mission.
Yep.
What is that like?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, the last 15 minutes of this podcast is actually a very fascinating conversation that I don't feel like interrupting. So I'm going to see you guys at the end, and I'll let Professor CJ take it from here.
Because you keep saying things like
He
when I was
he went
gone,
door to door.
You went door to door kind of thing.
We didn't go door to door so much there. Down there, what?
I just remembered a video that I saw. It was you know those new Nest doorbells that have the camera on them.
Yeah.
These two
Yeah, those things suck.
these two Mormon missionaries like walked up to a door and they pushed the doorbell and they're standing there waiting for the guy to come to the door and they start telling really crappy jokes to each other, and it's like it's one guy telling jokes to the other one and the other guy's just like yeah I get it.
That's what happens. Like, I'm not even kidding. I did that. So,
I know you did that because you brought it home with you.
well, I always love jokes. But anyway, yeah,
Yeah, but you just
going
like
around
jokes.
like through the neighborhood, talking to people just like out on the street is 5 times more effective than going door to door.
Said
Down
the
there.
market salesman.
They get a lot of door to door down there. Pest control. They get security and all that. There's a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses down there too. there's just a lot of door to door, and they do not like it when you knock on their door. So, learn that firsthand. I don't know. There's a lot of.
I just found it interesting that they're like, okay, you're going to go to California, but you're going to go to like rural California, and you're going to go to suburb California, not actual California.
Okay,
Like, not
define
San
actual
Diego,
California.
not
Like,
LA, not any of those places, not high pop places. Just like
They go
the
everywhere.
same stuff you do here, but
Well,
in a different state.
Riverside.
If you listen, I'm
Yeah, no,
speaking of
yeah,
ignorance,
go for
but if I feel like if they sent him to like the high population areas, especially on the West Coast, it's not going to have the same impact because it's such a diverse area to begin with, and people are always saying things and always trying to like. There's already so much discussion going on in those places.
Scientology's they've got a death grip down there.
They had one in Hemet where I was at too.
But I feel like there's no neighbor to neighbor. It's just dude on the street to dude on the street to dude on the street in a place where everyone's moving really fast. Like
And-
imagine spreading a message in New York. Like
There's missionaries everywhere. There's missionaries in New York. I had a friend that was down there, and I got some of his emails, and it's kind of interesting the stuff that they would do. But like, you're right though. I mean, it's really there's no neighborly interaction. We ask people. Oh my goodness, we ask people this so much. Do you know any of your neighbors? Yeah, nope, don't talk to anyone. Like
I mean, that's
ever.
me here though.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, Riverside. See, that was like the main base of operations, if you want to call it. That was where the mission home was, and that was 3 times bigger than Peoria, and that was one of the smaller cities in California. And the missionaries, they go to LA too, but with how many different languages they speak in LA, like even down there in San Diego as well. Chinese, Spanish, sometimes Russian, Korean, Vietnamese, Hmong, what is it? Tagalog. Like, there's a lot of different things that people speak that they just send missionaries around everywhere for.
I thought it was Tagalog.
No, Tagalog.
Tagalog. And that's
It's-
what, Filipino?
Yeah, they also Cebuano is over there as well in the Philippines. There's a lot of different dialects there in the Philippines, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. But there's a lot
They
of
eat
different
unhatched eggs there. Like the bird is in the egg.
oh yeah, that stuff. Yeah,
people. That is
the
gross.
1,000-year-old egg shit.
Very gross.
Oh, not that. Yeah, there's that
Yeah.
too. Where it's like this egg has been sitting and fermenting for years.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
I like kimchi.
I've never had it. I would like that.
Spicy cabbage.
It's
Not
not
fun.
pistachio.
It's great.
I don't
No
like
one's
spicy.
Logan, he sucks at life.
Wait,
That's
didn't you
not-
say it was great?
I'm getting my act together.
So,
not on the kimchi basis,
The
apparently.
kimchi world.
so did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any
Yeah.
more questions? Like,
I just wanted to hear about your experience. You know.
there's a lot. Well, I was there for 2 years, and let's see.
Couldn't watch TV. Couldn't
What was
eat.
Yeah.
what was the focus of your mission? Like, why'd you go on it, and what were you doing there?
Okay, so really, I guess just to explain it on a pure like religious standpoint, everyone's going to die
Right.
one day. We believe that everybody is going to be resurrected one day, and then also everybody's going to be judged. And depending on like your judgment, kind of really depends on who you're going to live with at the end of, or like at the beginning of eternity, end of eternity, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
And without the, how do I want to put it? Everybody needs the grace and mercy of Jesus Christ to get the to be able to live with Him after we are judged. But over time, that message has been kind of skewed up and lost.
Do it.
But just so that everybody can have a chance, because God, He's merciful, He's loving, He's kind, and He's not going to out people. Because I mean, out in China, there's not a lot of religious diversity there, and
Yeah, no.
God's we believe He is fair. He's not going to condemn people for, oh, you didn't hear about Jesus? Sorry, you're not in the club. Like he's not like that at all. So you just try to give everybody a chance, I guess.
So it's just spreading the message of God to
Mhm.
places where
Yeah,
God might not, the word he might be a household name.
yeah.
Okay.
And that is pretty common. It's common that he is. It's common that people. One of my favorite people down there, her name is Kan Ching. She's Filipino, half Filipino. She grew up Catholic, studied with Jehovah's Witnesses, and then was baptized Mormon. So, I mean, you get a lot of different kind of people out there who they just need certain things, and at that point in her life, she really needed that.
So, what is the purpose of the mission then?
Like in general, like across the world, or
so it's about spreading the name of God, so it's like more of a household name. So then, what do you do to make that happen? Because you were talking about like talking to people on the street and things like that.
Okay, so there's about 6 lessons, I guess you want to call it, that we talk to people about, and the purpose is really just to inform them so that they can make a choice. Right. You know, we never go around saying like, you know, you're condemned now because you didn't listen to us.
You're going to hell.
Yeah, never. Like it's always a choice. You know, when Jesus was here, he never said, "If you follow me, or if you don't follow me right now, I'm going to burn you." Like it was always. He said, "Come, follow me,
and I will give you wine."
Bread.
He did not. He said, So when he was here, he just invited. I mean, even when his followers knew about it, I think it was Peter's brother Andrew. Said, you know, come and see, come and look, come check it out. So, pretty sure.
Dude, we got pizza.
And then one of his friends was a total jerkwad.
I was just saying, like, that's.
So this is where it's interesting. I really actually like Jewish history at the time. So hold on, so let me back it up a little bit. Babylonians about 700 BC took over Jerusalem, etc., because Nebuchadnezzar was like, oh, okay, hold on. Babylonians were taking over. Egypt was kind of like, man, I don't know about this Nebuchadnezzar guy. He's kind of a jerk face, and we should like rebel. And Jerusalem was is the land of Israel. They were like, yeah, maybe like that could be a good idea. And then it wasn't. So then 600 AD passed. After in 700 AD, like 10 of the 12 tribes got just like demolished and lost. So then 600 AD comes around. And Egypt is kind of like, man, we really don't like Nebuchadnezzar. We want to do something about it. And half of Jerusalem was like, yeah, screw that guy. And the other half is just like, you know what, let's leave him alone. Just do what he wants. And there was, what was his name? So King Zedekiah, his uncle, did not listen to what Nebuchadnezzar said. So Nebuchadnezzar, who controlled the area at the time, was like, all right, you're going to die. You're going to replace him, Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar said, all right, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. Then Nebuchadnezzar decided to side with the Egyptians, and then the Egyptians pulled out at the last minute. They're like, oh, shoot, never mind, this is a bad idea. So,
I just love the way you tell a story.
Oh, thank you. So then Nebuchadnezzar's all like butthurt, and he hates Jerusalem again, so destroys them. And I'm trying to remember. I think about so this is the intertestamental period. This is what's happening. Okay, this is not the intertestamental period yet. But what happens is about, I think, 200 years after. So it is about shoot, I can't even remember the name. Nahum, I believe Malachi.
You're making these names up.
No, it's at the end of the Old Testament.
Grumby.
No. So anyway, so eventually the Persians take over Babylonia, and the Persian guy is like, yeah, you guys can go back, like go to your little country, etc. Go do what you want. Here's all the money you need to go build up your wall and your temple. Because Nebuchadnezzar was like, the only way to stop insurrection and rebellion is to control them and to bring them to where I'm at so they can't do anything, make them worship what I want. That's where you get David. And then the Persian guy, I forgot his name. I should know it. But he was like, the only way to control insurrection and to prevent rebellion is to let them do what they want and keep them happy. But as long as they, like, still kind of, listen to me. So anyway.
Sounds like consumerism.
Yeah. So they went to go build the temple. 500 years we don't have any record of really, besides stuff from the Apocrypha. So like Maccabees, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, and Ezra. Esdras. And now in that time, the Greeks wanted to Hellenize the world, so they were taking over everything. Yes, Logan.
What does Hellenize mean?
They wanted to turn everything Greek. So they were doing that,
Okay.
and when they were doing that, they really didn't care what other religions did. They were kind of like, you know what, whatever, dude. It's kind of like America, like, do what you want. But also, it was when Alexander the Great took over, then he died, and then it got split up, and then Ptolemies and the Seleucidites, they kind of did not get along. And so those two people were kind of like trying to go at it from like the Egypt side and from the Israel side. And so during the Maccabean War, what started that was the Greek people. Yes, Logan.
I forgot what the question was.
Why did Judas betray Jesus? It's a build up. Okay,
It
it's a long
started
build up.
Hundreds of years prior.
Yes, because I need to build up. All right, so
You ask how the universe
Anticipation.
Your story's incomplete.
The
so
beginning is done.
Logan, this is the prequel
Please keep
section.
going.
Yeah.
So what happened was they were fighting. They made Jupiter. Like if you did not worship to Jupiter with pigs and stuff, which was very offensive to the Jews. They did not like pigs because it had hooved feet, so you couldn't eat that. So anyway, so they had to sacrifice in their normal temples that were now converted to Jupiter temples, and they were not happy. I'm trying to remember. It was Judas Maccabee's dad. I can't remember. Okay, this is the guy. Judas Maccabee's dad.
This is the guy.
So Judas Maccabee's dad did not want to sacrifice to Jupiter. Killed one of the Greek guards. Greece got butthurt. And then Judas Maccabee's dad. I can't remember his name. Judas Maccabee's dad took a bunch of people, ran away, and they were like, "Oh gosh, we got to fight. We got to defend God's name." So they fought. Eventually, they got Rome here to help to kick out the Greeks. They did, but Judas Maccabee's dad died. Judas Maccabee was the one that really led. He was like the face. He was the Katniss Everdeen of the Maccabean War. He was the one trying to I'm sorry, okay? It was a
Dated reference.
so he was fighting him, and then Judas Maccabees died. All right. Now, so Judas was a good person. He was a very, very, very influential. Not the same one that betrayed Jesus, and but
He was a bad person.
But remember the name Judas Maccabees, okay?
Oh wait, I will.
Never forget.
So eventually, Rome got in, kicked the Greeks out. That is where, hold on, was it about like the turn of the century, the turn of time, whatever? When Jesus was born, Rome was in control. That's why they have to pay tribute to Caesar. That's why they go to Bethlehem, and Jews don't like it. Like, they're sick and tired of being controlled by people for about the last 1,000 freaking years. Okay, it's not really 1,000. It's close to, like, 700 or 800. But anyway, so when Jesus is around, the Messiah is supposed to, in Jewish literature, is the one that's supposed to free them from their oppressors, okay? From their oppression. So the extremists in Judaism believe that to be the political oppressors, the Roman oppressors. But some other people believe that to be the spiritual oppressors, Jesus and his followers. That's really what he came to do, okay? But some people still believed that the Messiah was supposed to free them from the Romans. And, you had some factions in it. You had the Zealots.
Can I ask, is that why in Judaism they don't believe Jesus Christ is the Messiah?
Yeah, they don't believe, because so what happened was the Jews are the ones that crucified Jesus. Well,
Right.
the Jews got the Romans to crucify Jesus.
Right.
Because they did not like what he was claiming. He claimed that he was the literal Son of God, and they were like, no.
So did they not like that So is Jesus the spiritual Messiah that the Jews don't recognize? Or is so which faction, the ones that wanted spiritual liberation or political liberation, which faction was the one that was like, Jesus is not doing the right thing here?
The political one.
Okay.
And even so, yes.
Because the Romans, or the Roman Empire, didn't like Jesus in general.
They really didn't care. I mean, honestly, as long as they weren't trying to crap on the name of Caesar, they didn't care, or whatever the emperor was. They didn't really care what you were gonna do. But the reason that Pilate agreed to crucify Jesus was because a few times before he didn't really treat the Jews all that well, and this time they were like, well, we're going to tell Tiberius if you don't do it, and you're going to get fired. And he's like, oh, crap. So he crucified Jesus. Oh, sorry. So before that, the reason that Judas, this is my personal opinion, okay, the reason that Judas turned in Jesus was because he could have thought, he was an apostle. Jesus, he fasted 40 days and 40 nights. After that, he chose the 12 apostles, okay? He took a lot of thought and prayer into it, and God told him who to pick. So, because of that, Judas, he was numbered among the 12 apostles. He's important for a reason. He went out preaching. He kind of had a problem with money. He was a little greedy. He was in charge of the treasury, though. So what happened was Judas, turned him in for money, blood money, and my personal opinion is maybe Judas did that so that Jesus would, kind of stop everything. Like, okay, Jews, you're going down. Judas didn't necessarily agree with the Jews, what they were trying to do to Jesus. I mean, he was an accomplice, So he turned him into the leaders of the Jews, so that when the leaders of the Jews got him, maybe he could blow him away with the palm of his hand and all that, get rid of him, and then when he brought him to the Romans, free him from the Romans. But that didn't happen. He was crucified, and now we have Christianity. So does that kind of answer your question?
And that concludes the first episode of the First Person Podcast. If you've been following along at home, the Logan's Lonely Addictions tally is at 8, and the smoke alarm beeped a total of 27 times. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys later.